Hey there, Scrapper Names fans. I am back today with a design team share for the Use Your Stuff Challenge blog. This is challenge 282, and it is the blues basically. So using as much blue, or the colour blue, on your page creation, I guess, because it's not always layout. Some people do cards and tags and all those sorts of fun things. I obviously do the scrapbooking type things. But yeah, so I have got my white cardstock. Now, I did gesso this because I wasn't sure what I was going to do, whether or not I was going to use some really wet media or not. But I've basically chosen just a blue acrylic paint and used a old plastic card to smear it across the page. Not evenly too much, just enough. Those are the two photos I'm scrapping, and they are from my sister's baby gender reveal we had a few months ago. So she's pregnant, due at Christmas, and we found out that she is having, they are having a boy. So yeah, so it's a bit exciting. So it was good to use blue, perfect for this layout. So I've just used some Dylusions white paint to go over the top with the stencils there, and just to add some of that sort of sunbeam kind of stencil and the like bubble circle one. I decided to use those just because it looks fun. It would be bright, all that fun stuff that comes with, baby stuff. So I decided I was also going to map my photos onto some coloured, some pattern papers. So I'm just using this blue, which I'm just trying to think. I'm pretty certain this one and the one with the little baby rattles that I'll use shortly are from the Little Boy Kaiser Craft collection. Well, I don't know if Little Boy is the actual right name, I could be wrong, but basically it's a baby boy themed kit or collection that I brought a little while back at the craft fair here in Canberra. So yeah, so I am just going to map my photos a little bit just to make them pop up off the background a little bit, because the background obviously is a bit busy, which is fun because, as I said, I wanted this to be quite fun and bright, but I also want to break it up a little bit so the photos are sort of the focal point. Now this is a Chamel Starshine pattern paper, so it's not that Kaiser Craft one, and I decided to get a bit funky with it all. And like I've matted the photos, both photos exactly the same with the same cardstock, and then I'm using this balloon piece to sort of put across the center to break them up. I wasn't sure how I was going to, originally I was going to do it separately, but then I kind of changed my mind, and the white paint didn't quite go the way I wanted it to, and it was bothering me, so I wanted to sort of hide it a little bit in the parts that didn't quite go according to plan. So as I've said before, we can try these things, and sometimes that's a bit hard for me to do, is to just try things out and experiment on a layout. That's why I have my art journal, but I did with this one, and it didn't always work 100%, so you can always cover it up. No problem. Who's going to know? Except you, because I just told you now. But anyway, so yeah, never fear. It can always be covered. Mishaps can always be covered by pattern paper, embellishments, photos, whatever. So don't stress. So this is the second photo. Yeah, and then I'm just matting that one as well. So as I said, this photo is for I'm actually making an album. One of my projects at the moment is to make an album of my sister's baby, or her pregnancy, and this is part of it. This is one of the big events that we've had for it. It was, as I said, the gender reveal, which I've never had a gender reveal. I didn't have one with my kids, and I've never been to one either, so this was all a bit new. Now her partner's sister very creatively made the cake, so she knew what they were having, but my sister and her partner didn't know what they were having, whether it was a boy or a girl, until they cut into the cake and saw the mountain of blue that was inside. So the cake was really well done. As you can see, you'll see better in the close-ups, but yeah, she made the cake by hand and then filled it in the middle. I have no idea. I don't think I could do it personally, but yeah, it was very clever. Lots of blue. So yeah, so this will be, if you are a subscriber to my channel, you might see this one, and I've also got another project going that's for my niece, so my brother's little one and his partner's little one. So there's a few baby albums or pages thrown in amongst the mix of all the other ones that I do for my family albums and whatnot, kids albums. So yeah, so this one you'll see probably a project, possibly a Project Life spread, because there's a few other photos from this day that needs to be documented as well. So I'm thinking of doing a pocket page for that. Whether I film it or not, I'm not sure, but if I don't, I usually try and snap some photos to share over on my blog, which links are usually at the end of my videos. Now this is the baby rattle paper I was telling you about. So with that, it's got touches of yellow and blue in the rattles, but it's a white background, so I thought that would sort of offset the bright blue, and that is the mixed media in the background, which I think it did quite well. And I've just popping it in there, sort of in between both photos, just to balance it off a little bit. I was deciding if I liked it or not. You know, you sort of try something and then you sort of just go with things. Like, oh, that's me anyway. Sometimes I just go, yep, okay, I'm just going to scrap. I'm just going to do it this way. And then I'm not really sure. I'm not 100% certain that my creative thoughts are all that creative or all that clever or work. So, yes, some people might do it like this. Some people may not. But this worked for me. So, she'll be right. So just using my double-sided tape to stick that down. Now, as per usual, you'll see me shortly, I use my wet glue to adhere this whole matte piece to the background itself, to the cardstock. And again, because it is mixed media and it's a heavy dose of mixed media, it's got the blue paint and the white paint, I wanted to make sure, obviously, it was going to stay there for the long run. So, yeah. And I do pop this up, you'll see shortly, on some foam, which I was debating whether or not it needed, but then thought, yeah, I think that would add... you know, it adds a bit of dimension, but it also pops it up off that background. Again, it is a busy background with all the paint, which I think looks great, but it just needed the photos needed to be sort of propped up a little bit, I thought. And as I said at the beginning, this is my design team share for the Use Your Stuff Challenge blog. And as I've said before, I think I had another video last week. Pop on over. They have weekly challenges that come out on the Monday. Now, it is American, so it is, yeah, time differences and things. But generally Monday, and you get to see what all the other design team members have done. It's not always like a scrapbook layout, as I've said. Some do cards. Some even just do, like, I think for this one of the design team members had made like I think it was like a blue dinosaur banner or something for her son's room or something like that. So like it's sort of off the page kind of stuff too. So you don't have to stick to a scrapbook layout. And it's really cool seeing how other people use these themes, and they are all different themes. As I said, this one's blue. I think the next one is potentially pink for breast cancer awareness. I think. Could be wrong. Anyway, but I'm pretty certain there's one like that in there somewhere. So yeah, by all means, go over, check it out. They also have a Facebook group too, where you can pop along and share and chat. But it's a really good way to, you know, give some direction to a creation if you're a bit short on mojo and ideas. And it's just a really good way of getting into your stash and being creative, really. Who needs, you know, I mean, who needs an excuse at times? But sometimes we just need something to push us in the right direction. All right, so enough babbling. You know it's there, and the link is at the bottom of at the end of the video. So this new project little card is from the Inky Quill Patreon printables. Maybe this month. I sort of have them all mixed in one basket now. So yeah, I wanted to use it because it's got a different coloured blue, like it's a pale blue on it. I also thought it was a really cool little new project, as in new baby project. So yeah, I am going to use it, you'll see shortly, as a journaling card. And just figuring out where I wanted to place it and how much journaling I could put on it. So I have just journaled the day of the gender reveal. The Cole family joined the Lane family in Canberra to find out boy or girl. So I pop that down the bottom there. I think I used double-sided tape on this in the hope that it will stick, which it did. It's adhered really well. I have no issue with it, only because the wet glue that I have, I don't know if I got the wrong one or something, when it's on sort of thin type paper, cardstock, it makes it bubble, and I just wasn't in the mood for it to look wrong. Now these beautiful stickers I got in a recent haul from Anna's Craft Cupboard, and they go with the Glitter Girl collection that's just come out, and I think they're absolutely stunning. I love them. I love the words, the phrases on them. I think that's why they're not just any normal sticker, I guess. And they're different fonts and, whatnot, and, like these little stars and things. They're quite cute. And as you can see, I'm using it for a different kind of layout, I guess. And as you can see, I put that word joy down the bottom. And as I said, and also trying to stick much to the blue as I can, but adding in some different other little colours as well. I will add across along the way just to make it sort of pop out a little bit more. It's not all sort of a bit blue and boring. These epoxy stickers have been in my stash since I started scrapbooking like 8 years ago. I have 2 packets of them. Don't 100% know where I got them from. I think one of the cheapy shops, because when I started scrapbooking, I was starting an album for my son who's now 10. And yeah, so they were for his, but I haven't used them all. So I was rummaging through my stash and reorganising a little while back, a few weeks back, and found them. So I pulled them out and have added them to my baby boy project kit. So that's what I've done too. It's the first time I've ever done it, is being that I've got 2 separate projects, one for my niece and now one for my new nephew. I have my niece's in a box, in one of those 12 by 12 stories boxes. So I've gone through my stash and pulled out anything that's baby related, or I think I'll use for her book, because I've had some stuff left over where I did my son and my daughter's album. So I have a really croaky throat. I'm not really sure why. And then I have a 12 by 12, just a pocket plastic, like, not a container, but just like a sleeve type thing. And in it at the moment is just bits and pieces I'm collecting for my new nephew's album, because his is a sort of slow work in progress, whereas my niece, who is now 6 months old, I've got 6 months to catch up on kind of thing, so I've got more in there for her. But yeah, I was going through my stash and I found bits and pieces that are baby related, like those epoxy stickers that I wanted to put with it. And then other times like this, I've pulled other things from my stash that I think would go. I know I've got that I think will go really well, like these freckled fawn glitter stickers and glitter stars. They're just sitting in my stash, and I've just pulled them out for this project because I thought they would go really well. And this here is a Project Life mini kit, and it's the party one. Don't know if that's the actual right term, so I apologise. And I noticed that there was a few pieces in there that were blue or a bit of pink or whatever, so I wanted to add them with some phrases that I liked, like this one that says love, that I just used my mini stapler to attach to the photo there. So I'm just going through looking now. But yeah, if you've got a little project, I suggest, and I did this, getting a little kit together if you don't already do it, and if you're new to it all. If you're sort of sitting down going, right, well, this is my project, I'm doing a baby album, then, collect all things and find things in your stash that you can pop in that box. So every time I sort of go shopping or whatever, or like when I went to the craft fair, I was specifically looking for those projects and then just popping things in there. So yeah, that's my handy tip, and that's how I'm doing this with these projects I've got going now. So these are my 2 main projects, as well as my family stuff, my own family. Anyway, back to the layout. So as I said, I'm going through that mini kit to have a look for some kind of party themed pieces, just because it was a really big part. It was a big party. It was really cool. Lots of cake, lots of blue lollies, too much blue lollies, and yeah. So I wanted it to look fun and baby as well related. So that's why, as I said, the bubbles and things in the background, and some of those things from that mini kit, core kit that I just had there. This little round piece, it just says, it's the little things that make life big. It was just randomly in my little blue tub of random embellishments. Now, if you're a subscriber to my channel, you will know what I'm talking about. I have a little blue tub that sits next to my desk now, on my little Kmart trolley, and I just throw anything and everything in there. If I've got bits left over from a kit, 1 month, I put it in there. If I buy things off, garage sale sites that are just random bits of embellishments that I like the look of, they'll probably end up in there. Yeah, so that's where that came from. So I think I'm just adding some enamel dots and I'm using some different colours. Like I'm using blue, but I'm using a touch of orange and a bit of pinks, just to tie in all of the colours throughout the layout as much as I can. And nothing too major. I didn't think it needed too much of the enamel dots, just because there's so much else on there. I'm just spreading them around in little pockets. There we go. Decisions, hey? Now I'm just adding a doodly border just to finish off the page, because it's sort of the blue stops, then the white's there of the cardstock in the background, and then there's sort of like nothing. So the blue sort of, to me, looked like it was just sort of floating around and there was no end point. So I just added this doodly border. Nothing too fancy, just some little squiggly lines just to wrap it up. I think I add one more touch of embellishing, I think. Yeah, I do actually. Top corner, I wanted to balance out that top left corner a little bit. It seemed to have, I felt it needed something to balance out with what the right corner had as well. So I'll add that in a minute. I'm jumping ahead of the video. This is what happens when you have the layout next to you. You can see what you've done. I'm just going around in some of those little dots, the little circular pieces from that stencil, and using my black marker just to highlight a few of them, I guess, just to make it stand out a little bit off the page. I just thought it looked a bit different. Sort of I don't know, I think I just felt that it needed it. Just finishes off those little circle areas a little bit. That stencil a little bit more. Now the little tub I'm pulling out is my mix of like metal brads and resin stuff and whatnot, and buttons, which was never a big fan of buttons. And then my girlfriend and I went to the craft fair a few months back, and yeah, she got me into them. I've been using them a little bit on my layouts. So these little stars I'm using, these are just little buttons, plastic buttons, a blue one, a purple one, and a yellow one. And I just thought they added a really cute little touch to that corner. And as you can see, just using my normal wet glue to pop it down. And I think my layout is done. It is, look, wiggly worm hands. So I will give you some close-ups here. As I said, jump on over to the challenge blog if you want to have a challenge each week, a different challenge every week to dive into your stash with and get your creative mojo going for the week. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and like this video so it pops up for others. And yeah, subscribing, you'll get to see more fun. I do try and post regularly each week, at least 2 or 3 videos for you. Some are from my design team jobs and some are just me just scrapping away. And there's a mix. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time, and happy scrapping. Bye.